A new wave of uncertainty has been provoked again over the hosting of the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON 2021 in Cameroon. Pressure is being mounted on the Confederation of African Football (CAF) by the World Football Governing Body FIFA for the tournament to be postponed. Currently in Cameroon's political capital city, with the mission to meet with stakeholders in the sports sector but also administrators, notably the President of the Republic of Cameroon is CAF's President Patrice Motsepe. The AFCON to be or not to be in Cameroon, we shall be talking about in this edition of the news, with reports from the nation's political capital city Yaoundé, and also the effects of the armed conflict running on for 5 years now in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. In this edition of the news, we shall be taking you to the impact on the local man on the streets of Bamenda. Bamenda is the chief town of the northwest region of Cameroon, but also Equinoxe. You well know Equinoxe is one of the biggest towns that make up Muyuka, one of the largest subdivisions of the southwest region of Cameroon. Muyuka is in the Fako division, but just how has Muyuka and Equinoxe particularly been affected by the armed conflict is the content of one of the reports in this edition of the news. Insecurity is also rising, but security officials are multiplying their crackdowns on many of the other world as days narrow to end of year festivities across the economic capital city Douala and the rest of the country Cameroon. Thanks for choosing to listen to News on Equinoxe. You made the right choice to be connected to Equinoxe Television. You're on to the Prime Time Newscast on Equinoxe. We live from Douala. Douala is Cameroon's economic capital city, but also Equinoxe Central News Desk. And of course, we are grateful that you are connected with us. We shall be starting this edition of the news for the day and for the week Monday with sports. Sports, one of the major issues that is making news across the Republic of Cameroon, and football is the sport that is much talked about by Cameroonians. The Africa Cup of Nations AFCON 2021, to be or not to be in Cameroon, is the question many have been asking since the arrival of CAF's President Patrice Motsepe in Yaoundé today. Officials say that CAF is receiving pressure from the World Football Governing Body FIFA for the tournament in Cameroon to be postponed again. Martin Jikangebe takes us to the arrival of Patrice Motsepe and some of his key audiences and persons to meet in Cameroon.
The private jet of the President of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, touched down at the Nsimalen International Airport in the early hours of Monday morning. The President, alongside Samuel Eto'o, were returning from Qatar, where they both participated at the closing ceremony of the FIFA Arab World Cup. The visit of Dr. Patrice Motsepe comes 24 hours after a meeting that took place via video conference, bringing together CAF's President Patrice Motsepe, the Secretary General Veron Mosengo Ongba, and executive members of CAF. The objective of the meeting was to see how the Africa Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021 could be postponed or cancelled, putting as an excuse the resurfacing of coronavirus. After a heated debate, a majority of the members of the executive committee of CAF agreed that the Nations Cup in Cameroon should be maintained as planned, even though several European clubs are reluctant to let go the African stars. According to a media release on the visit of CAF's president to Cameroon, Dr. Patrice Motsepe is expected to meet with the President of the Republic, the Secretary General at the Presidency, and a visit at the Olembe Sports Stadium. Dr. Patrice Motsepe says it's only after his visit that a final decision will be taken, but he desires that Cameroon should host the African Cup of Nations from the 9th of January to the 6th of February 2022.
And the final declaration of Dr. Patrice Motsepe is highly awaited by sports lovers in Cameroon as he is billed to meet with the President of the Republic of Cameroon. But Dr. Patrice Motsepe is also very concerned that Cameroon is a footballing nation, at least within the African continent, and also should be given the right opportunity to organize this very important football tournament. Patrice Motsepe spoke in the following extract.
It's our home, it's the home for Africa, and we will talk tomorrow and give you feedback. We are very clear in terms of our commitment to make the AFCON a success in Cameroon. So we will talk tomorrow and give you more feedback, but I'm very confident that we will work together with the people of Cameroon, who are a proud football nation, who have made Cameroon proud and Africa proud. And I'm confident that in our meetings, both today and tomorrow, we will be able to come out of here and give the world, give Africa and give the world the confidence that we have, the commitment to our people in Cameroon, and the commitment to the development and growth of football in Africa. So we'll give you feedback tomorrow.
Thank you very much and welcome home, like you said.
Thank you.
And the following threats on the AFCON Cameroon is linked directly to the Delta, or rather the Omicron variant of the coronavirus pandemic. Some of the reasons advanced by individuals and groups that think that the competition should be postponed. However, Cameroon is having some other challenges which are really not a concern to the local organizing committee and key stakeholders in and out of Cameroon. It is that of insecurity, rugging the far north, the northwest and also the southwest regions of Cameroon. On the Equinoxe television program on Sunday, Droit de Réponse panelists were concerned with the worsening security situation in the Logon and Shari division, with the confrontations between Arab Shuas and Muslims in that part of the far north region of Cameroon that has already been suffering the impacts of the Boko Haram terrorist activities. Their views were compiled by Immaculate Fogwe in the following report.
Analysts on the flagship program Droit de Réponse decry government's inability to solve the intercommunal clash between the Muslim and Arab Shua communities in the far north region that has led to several deaths and thousands of displacements. Their reaction follows the visit of a delegation headed by Minister Paul Tanganji of Territorial Administration in the affected region. Barrister Sheikh Assad, a militant of the CRM political party, decries the use of cosmetic measures to solve the conflict.
How can they transform a conflict that concerns farmers, fishermen and cattle breeders? They need to understand the real causes of the conflict so as to know how to solve the problem.
A militant of the UPC party says if the crisis is not resolved at this stage, then Cameroon should be ready for a civil war in the days, months or years ahead.
Si nous ne résolvons pas ce problème,
I'm afraid that what you are referring to as confrontations today might soon degenerate into a civil war, with people carrying arms and shooting each other. You cannot say it's something simple. We need to be very careful. Let's be aware that conflicts are the major causes of impoverishment.
c'est des guerres. Les gens prennent des armes et se tuent.
Edmond Kamgia, Equinoxe TV consultant, believes one of the reasons why conflicts continue to surge in Cameroon is because the government always intervenes when the conflict is already deteriorating.
That was a very poor casting. How can they choose people who have little information on what is happening on the field? Government was supposed to bring together spokespersons of both communities so they can give proposals on how to end the crisis.
Véritable porte-parole des éleveurs et des agriculteurs.
Professor Jacqueline Koyok, a militant of the CPDM party, rather shares a different view from the other panelists. She believes some people are rather masterminding the conflict in order to tarnish the image of the head of state.
Mais nous voyons que c'est la politisation.
They are politicizing the crisis because they know that the head of state is a peace-loving man. Those masterminding the confrontations are doing so for political gains. They think that the CPDM will lose if this continues.
Within the weekend, Kamsalum Abba Kabi, a member of parliament and spokesperson of the Arab Shua community, decried the laxity and negligence of the government with regards to the conflict between fishermen and breeders in the Musgum and Arab Shua communities. He says government authorities and security elements have not been able to solve the crisis which resurfaced since the 5th of December.
And some observers think that the condition and the crisis in the Logon and Shari division must be handled with keen attention by the central government, lest it degenerates as the situation of the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions of Cameroon, where a crisis began in 2016 but has now degenerated into a full-blown armed conflict. And one of the areas hardest hit by the armed conflict is Muyuka, one of the subdivisions of the Faku in the southwest region of Cameroon. Muyuka had been largely qualified as a red zone, especially towns like Muyuka itself and Equinoxe. But what has become of Equinoxe now is the content of this story compiled by our Southwest Regional Chieftain correspondent, Derek Jato.
With perforated walls behind him chopped off by bullets, this man says he brought his family back in Equinoxe to pick up what the crisis has left behind for him and his family. Though it is not easy, we managed to go to the farms or to beg to eat. He told Equinoxe Television. Elsewhere, still in Equinoxe, the one-time dead town is showing signs of rejuvenation. And Mayor Langino Lazar, the mayor of the Muyuka Council during the budgetary session for 2022, that was adopted at 1 billion francs CFA, said Muyuka subdivision has gained back 70% of her status.
No one will use this on man talk against Muyuka na red zone. Muyuka no na red zone. We don't move that red zone, we trap. That's why anything you want on Muyuka Council, you come every day, you see the mayor there for safety population. You want to go to market, you go to market, you buy.
And some basic projects like water, roads, and electricity will be a priority in 2022 to accompany this population coming back. And Honorable Findi Stanley Mukondo, Member of Parliament for Fako East constituency, on his part, called on some major employers in the area to take up their responsibilities.
Satom, as we talk now, so he don't sublease a contract. Especially they remove gravel from Satom. The way up to now, the person need pay no 5 from Muyuka Council. Supermon, as he did the function, we all we know say the function. He get hygiene money for hygiene and sanitation. We get for the pay directly for the council. You need pay. They take the sources from our place, so we get a direct benefit from it.
It was also noted during this council session that Muyuka subdivision was one of the most hit areas in the southwest region. Thus, the reconstruction plan should give Muyuka subdivision its fair share.
And as persons ran away who are still running from hardest hit areas to safer localities receiving internally displaced persons in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon are also facing some other problems, that of the pressure on the available social amenities. And one of such problems is faced by Kambe in the Donga Mantung of the northwest region of Cameroon, where officials say the high influx of internally displaced persons has been having an impact on health facilities available. And to remedy the situation, the government of Cameroon intervened in order to improve the capacity of the Kambe District Hospital and also health units around, in order to be able to meet up with the demand of the local population and incoming internally displaced persons, as Charles Abane Ekome tells us in the following report.
For several years, the lack of modern medical equipment at the Kambe District Hospital in the Donga Mantung division of the Northwest region has dealt a serious blow to the local health care system. But recently, This burden has, however, been lifted by the Cameroonian government, who has donated a series of sophisticated medical equipment worth £1 billion CFA through the representative and member of parliament for Donga Mantung Center, Honorable Gala Gerard.
I think this is a clear proof to the people of Gambia, like I told them today, that peace is priceless, and the government has recognized our loyalty and respect for state institutions, and this is pay off time with the government. The government has donated us, given us huge consignment of medical equipment to this hospital that will benefit not only people of Gambia, Donga Mantung, but will benefit other people from the other division.
The mayor of Kambe, Paul Musa Shea, while receiving his donation, thanked the head of state and key government officials for this benevolent gesture, but also enumerated a series of problems which have been hindering development in the division.
To render more possible and more modern the alternative route passing through Magwa, Monso, Taba, Ndu, and Kambe, so that the population of this division continues to feel reasonably loved. Number two, to provide this population with an alternative source of energy, in particular the solar energy.
All that said, the Member of Parliament also used the occasion to salute local authorities and the general public for what he says is their maximum collaboration with state institutions and Republican values. He reiterated that the equipments are part of Kambe's payment for rejecting terrorism.
In the report coming up, our Northwest Regional Chieftain correspondent Mbu Stella takes us to the impact of the armed conflict in the Anglophone regions on the common man, especially in the streets of the Northwest Regional Chieftain. Bamenda Mbu Stella tells a story of displacement, families living on deplorable living conditions with the inability to be able to pay for basic medical health care or medical needs. Her report.
Their homes from far and near and converge at the premises of the Tuba Council, each exhibiting strength to grab what is on distribution.
We dare also people when they get sick, they so we not get nothing.
Say Abiso Abina widow because the child school fees are not getting nothing.
This is the current reality of many families in the restive Northwest region who are unable to afford basic health care, food and shelter. 5 years ago, a conflict broke out in Anglophone Cameroon. The result so far has been killings, kidnappings, torture, displacements and hardship.
Will you come back so maybe even just something for chop?
I've been there for the first century from the market, so the bonds them, they never can stand up on the door. So for long with my life, the damage I promote 5 years.
A joint Cameroon World Bank project, otherwise known as the Safety Net Emergency Cash Transfer Component, has selected 1,000 of these persons out of these vulnerable populations living below the poverty line for financial assistance.
We are telling them that they should send their children to school. They should also give them good food and also take them to hospital when they are sick.
The beneficiaries of 30,000 francs CFA are all smiles, but are wondering how long they will line up in queues as such. They wish to go home and see their homes again.
And in the following report, we take you to what security officials are doing since security intensifies across metropoles in the littoral region of Cameroon, but also other parts of the country, with days narrowing to end of year festivities. Many of the underworld are intensifying their activities, and officials are also not leaving them the space to be able to operate. So to say that birds have learned to fly without perching, and hunters have learned to shoot without missing. In the Mungo division of the littoral region, gendarmerie officials of the Mungo North Gendarmerie Company have intercepted a gang of men of the underworld specialized in the stealing of kitchen utensils, as Innocent Aze tells us in the following report.
Pots, roof sheets, boxes, gas bottles, motorbikes, electronic gadgets, and many others are stolen items presented to the population at the Nkong Research Gendarmerie Brigade. They were recovered from a suspect called Paco Rene Romeo, alias Avion, 34 years old. These other persons presented to the population are those who bought stolen items from him.
Toi, c'était quoi? Parle fort. Qui t'a vendu? Toi, c'était quoi? Qui t'a vendu? Toi, c'était quoi? Parle fort. Qui t'a vendu?
According to the gendarme officials, the buyers going by the law in force are accomplices, promoters and facilitators of crime and must be punished.
La loi est claire, d'accord? Parce que quand tu achètes le reflet de celui qui jouit du fruit d'un vol.
The arrest of Paco and recovery of the numerous items come after an inhabitant, victim of many attacks, filed a complaint.
En réalité, tout est parti d'une plainte.
A woman whose roof sheets were stolen deposited a complaint with us. We launched a vast operation that led to the arrest of Paco.
Avec le commandant de brigade de recherche, nous avons mis la main sur ces braqueurs qui ont été présentés tout à l'heure.
Inhabitants of Kongsamba have been urged to denounce and collaborate with security forces more, especially during this end-of-year feast.
And that report from Innocent brings us to the end of the Prime Time News on Equinoxe. We thank you for your keen attention. We urge you to stay in the company of interesting programs. On Equinoxe, we shall be taking you to Yaoundé for newspapers and bring you back to Douala shortly after the program in Yaoundé for Equinoxe Soir with Serge Alain Otto. Meantime, remember that news in Cameroon has been characterized by the Africa Cup of Nations to be or not to be, as the Confederation of African Football, CAF, is receiving pressure from the World Football Governing Body, FIFA, to postpone, to even cancel the organization of the sporting event in Cameroon. They are advancing the high number of coronavirus cases, especially cases linked to the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus, and of course the coronavirus. Most European clubs are also showing disinterest in releasing some of their African players to come back for the African Continental Football Jamboree. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with Equinoxe.